most of them used to see us like an outcast. Like, what's wrong with you? Did they fire you from the company? But over the period of times now, everyone wants to be an entrepreneur, right? So it has been possible with a change in fundamental mindset of people that, yes, India is ready for change. And this is possible with everyone's coordination from the public, government, and private sectors. So before we actually get into these, I would like to next move on to our next thing, which is the panel. What it takes to build a successful story. Right now, startups is a pretty sexy word, but previously, a couple of guys started off long back, and they have made it really big, and I think they are pretty much our idols right now in terms of starting up. So up next, I would like to introduce our panelists. I'd like to request our Honorable Secretary for Information Technology, Government of Telangana, Mr. Jayesh Ranjan Garu. For every event I go, I definitely see him around, even if it's a small event. So I think that's the kind of support they're providing. Thank you so much, sir. And I think everyone knows Red Bus. I think that's one of the first success stories in this space. So I'd like to introduce our own Farindra Samagaru, please. Onto the dais, please. And up next, I'd like to introduce Mr. Abhay Deshpande. He has over 18 years of experience and is the founder and CEO of MartJack. He's a very popular, well-known figure as well. Please, sir. So, Mr. Jayesh Ranjan Garu will be moderating the panel, and we'll listen to how to actually go about building up success stories. Please, sir. Over to you.
Thank you very much. This is indeed a very power-packed panel. I'm very happy to be the moderator. The panel is going to discuss what does it take to really build success stories for startups in our country. And we roughly have about 30 minutes, sir and Abhay and Funny. I would straight away ask Funny, when did you realize that you have become successful?
It's still in the realization because it's an ever growing journey, right? I mean, when we sold the first ticket about 10 years ago, we started in 2006, August. So we just completed 10 years. When we sold the first ticket, we said, oh, we can sell a ticket on internet. Then when we expanded to another location, today Redbus is present in about 5 countries. So the story is still in making. And in terms of the number of tickets booked, it's the world's largest bus ticketing company based out of India.
But I would, if I were asked the same question, if I were you and someone had asked me the same question, my answer would be that if I can take a 2-year-long sabbatical, if I can be on a vacation for 2 years, then obviously I'm successful. Abhay, the same question for you. When did you realize that you have become successful?
So my story was a bit different from Funny. I started in 1998. The e-commerce was not a known world at that time. So I started my first venture in 1998. And it has been 18 years of journey for me. I always knew that this will be successful, but it took long 17 years to actually reach there. Now the definition of success is different for different people. I think the first venture I ran, I have to close it in 2006. I ran it for 7 years. Then again, the similar energy, we started MartJack in 2007. I think by 2012, I really started realizing that is where one of the largest e-commerce company in the world approached us for the acquisition. And I think that was the first time we went through a real due diligence because we were never funded by the VC. We were a bootstrap company. We raised almost all the capital through angel investors. I had around 85 plus angel investors. I raised $7 million from them. So we never knew that. Sometimes people feel that the VC investment is the first step of success. But unfortunately, we were never lucky about it. We got rejected almost 100 times by the VCs. But we were 100% success ratio in the angel investment. So I think 2012 was the period where we felt that we are going in the right direction and there is a chance of a success and some value creation.
So basically the point you're making is that when you got recognized by one of the largest market players at that time who offered acquisition, so that's kind of a hallmark for success. Now if you, Abhay, I'll continue with you. When you look back at your journey, when you said that you started in 2005 and at that time e-commerce was definitely at a very, very nascent stage. Now the within, let us say, 5 years or 7 years, you were able to reach a stage when you are getting offers for acquisition. So I would like a very short and crisp answer. What, in your opinion, were the key factors, key ingredients for your success? What are the key one or two things which you think are the key differentiators between you and so many others who have perhaps tried the same path and have not really gone that far?
I think if I have to attribute our success, so I say the biggest factor for our success was our team. I think the great team which I could build, that was the biggest success factor. Out of 10, I will give 8 to the team. Because I was the person who just had idea. I thought this might be the next big opportunity. But the 175 people which joined me during that process struggled during the bad times because, as I said, we never had venture funding, we never had sufficient money. We built a SaaS product from Hyderabad, which is a global product, and I proudly say that this is one of the product which is built out of Hyderabad. We were the first SaaS company out of India. No people didn't knew about the SaaS also before that. So I think the team was the very important factor. The struggle the team went through, the trust which we had on each other. The other factor which I generally talk to the people, that the team which we built and the trust amongst each other was another very important factor. And we were confident because we knew that our customer is liking our product and he is using our product, and he will some way, if the customer is successful, we will be successful somewhere. So I think the team and the trust among the team was one of the important factors.
And obviously, as the leader of that team, it's your responsibility to pick the best people and then obviously motivate and inspire them to work as a team. Funny if this question is asked to you, what are the key one or two factors behind Redbus's success?
Yeah, in our case, I think the biggest contribution is from the mentors. I had mentioned it earlier also. For example, the whole strategy, the difference between us and our competitors, though we were the first ones to start, within like 4 months, we had a competitor with 10 times more money. We raised 3 crores and he had raised 30 crores. But even with 10 times more money, he couldn't make it because of the strategy. Like, for example, I mean, you know, bus ticketing. I mean, 10 years ago, I'm talking about the era when there was no Facebook, there was no Android, there was no iOS, no Twitter, no YouTube also. Right? Around that time, we wanted to, the bus ticketing was happening in a manual way. You go to a shop and buy a bus ticket, and then we wanted to computerize it. We wanted to automate the back-end operations of the bus operator so that we get access to that inventory, and then we start selling it on internet. For us to do that, we had to create software and go and automate the bus operations. And we created that software, went to the bus operators, started asking them to use that software. And even after like 3-4 months, no bus operator was willing to use it because it was a very different era.
So right? That mindset was difficult to
there was resistance to change, and there was no trust on internet. There are not many internet connections and etc. and all that. I mean, that's we continued. That's when our mentors told us that we could drop that idea and start selling on internet. Just start the consumer interface and start selling it, right? So we dropped our software to the bus operator, started selling on internet, and that really took off. Yeah. Compared to our competitors who continue to sell software, when bus operators weren't taking that software, they went and gave hardware for free. When they were not taking it, they gave internet for free. When they were not still using it, they gave even manpower for free, right? So the only difference is the kind of advice that we got versus the kind of things that they believed in.
These mentors, I would like to pursue with this line of thought. These are not really technology mentors. These are mentors who have a sense of business opportunities. Like, instead of peddling software, they advised you to create your own portal and start offering tickets. So how did you kind of discover them? It happened by chance, or did it?
No, actually, I went to TIE, the Indus Entrepreneurs, the Bangalore chapter. I went there, and when I had this problem, when we were not making progress, I went and pitched there. And I asked for help. That's when they assigned us 3 mentors, and these are those mentors. One of our mentors is an entrepreneur in the Valley. He had relocated to Bangalore, and that's how he was helping us. The other one is a Wipro, ex-Wipro person who was doing business development and sales. The third one was a VC. So those are the mentors who kind of helped us.
Sir, Abhay mentioned that team made a difference for him. And in Funny's case, it is the pool of wonderful mentors he encountered through TIE Network in Bangalore. How can we ensure that as a government, these kind of opportunities good mentors, opportunity to get a good team is provided to all startups which are trying to make their mark in a particular state or a country? What can the government do to really ensure that these success factors are not elusive but are available to everyone and it can be replicated easily?
Well, I think, like I said a few minutes ago, I think what really matters is where you're located in terms of having a proper ecosystem in place. Success in the startup world is not just about having the best idea. I think even if you have the best of ideas, unless you have two things happening, unless you have a platform to showcase it, and also unless you have someone who's able to support it and guide you all the way, I don't think its true valuation, its true worth will ever come out. So therefore, it's extremely important for the ecosystem to grow. I know Abhay has done it in spite of the ecosystem being present in Hyderabad, but I think the way forward from the government's perspective would be to do two things. We have a large pool of high net worth individuals. We have a large pool of angel investors who are either federated in the form of Indian Angel Network or angel networks across different cities in India. We have to ensure that we showcase the Hyderabad ecosystem to them. So possibly the next August Fest or next Startup Fest here in Hyderabad, we should have a larger chunk of venture capitalists present here to hear out the pitches and to actually pick up and cherry pick some of the best ideas from here. Second thing, obviously, we have to ensure that we leverage the academic institutions and the wonderful pool of mentors that we already have. For instance, in T-Hub, we leverage ISB, the Indian School of Business, and the wealth of knowledge and experience they have. We also leverage the IIIT Hyderabad, which offers the technology mentorship. And we also, in this space, in startups especially, IP is extremely important, intellectual property. So if we've tied up with Nalsar. But I think to give more momentum, to get more momentum into the place, I think we need to bring in a lot more ecosystem players, private equity players, venture capitalists, and government should take a lead role in a pole position and ensure more and more events actually happen here, hosted by the government, involving the startup ecosystem. And that's something we actually want to do, because after 1 year of T-Hub on the 5th of November, we can't call our state anymore a startup state. I think we have to start looking at calling ourselves a scale-up state. And as you all know, scaling up is very difficult unless you have the right kind of support. So government, both you and I, will actually endeavor and ensure that more and more ecosystem players set shop in Hyderabad also.
Sir, one other responsibility of the government is to ensure that every section of the society, every region of the country or the state is fairly well represented in any economic activity or developmental activity. The startup journey so far has largely been a metro-centric, urban-centric kind of phenomena. Do you think that the time is ripe when we start making some inroads in the rural areas, or should we allow the urban story to become even bigger and then hope for a trickle effect? What is your take on this particular issue, sir?
Well, Jayesh, yesterday we had a big team from Johnson & Johnson visiting us in Hyderabad. They were talking about improving. I think this is making an observation with reference to Johnson & Johnson, but I think that applies to industry at large and the business at large. Today, across the world, large business houses are looking to innovate, to improve their quality of working, also bring down costs. So as a result, what happens is when you start, making a mincemeat of your business processes and identify those areas that cost you more, but at the same time that can be done elsewhere in the world by way of, leveraging the high quality human resources we have. We have high quality human resources in Warangal, Nizamabad, in Khammam, in different parts of Telangana. As long as you're able to identify those wonderful opportunities and position them well from a government perspective. In terms of doing business as well, for a business house, for a startup, I think it has to make sense also to operate out of Nizamabad. For example, a wonderful experiment that is being worked on, as I was mentioning earlier, by Raju Reddy and Funny, is something called Kakatiya Sandbox. It's a rural incubator based in Nizamabad, and I'm told the focus sectors would be very, very closely aligned to the rural setup there. For example, agri-tech is an area where I think the rural incubators can do really well. Likewise, to do business in a rural setting, I think government has to incentivize, ensure that whatever return on investment you would get in a metro area, you would also get the same, or at least offset the cost, or ensure that the same returns are also offered in the rural setting. The third thing, and that I think something that's extremely important, which I believe the government ought to do, and we will do, is ensuring that we leapfrog in terms of, while physicality matters in terms of where you're located, sometimes in some cases, having a virtual connect with good digital connectivity. For example, ensuring that high-speed connectivity is also made available. Digital literacy is also on the anvil, and we have already ensured that more than 100,000 people are digitally literate in the state of Telangana. Ensuring that these two things also happen will usher in the digital revolution, which will also ensure our tier 2 and tier 3 towns also are up to speed.